Welcome, Masters. Our humble pranams to Brahmashri Pitamaha Patriji, Swarnamala Patriji Ma, to all the pyramid masters and Sita Mata herself, and to all those participants who have joined us for our Swadyaya session. Thank you very much for joining us. We have two wonderful masters today, Master Vasanti Kumaran and Master Raji Srinivasan, to share their wisdom on the untold story of Sita. Master Vasanti Kumaran, she'll be covering chapter 15, and subsequently Master Raji Srinivasan, she will be sharing her wisdom on chapter 16. Without any further delay, let us invite Master Vasanti.
Thank you, Master. Good evening, Masters. My humble pranam to Brahmarishi Patricia, Swarnamala ma'am, and all the masters who have joined here in this session. Today, we are going to cover chapter 15. The title of the chapter is Sita's Teachings to Mandodari. Okay, already we know that Mandodari is the wife of Ravana. Okay, so what happens is earlier, Sita Ma, she refused to take any food from Lanka or any water, even to drink water or food from any persons from Lanka. So actually one day, Mandodari, Rani Mandodari, she is preparing food with her own hands and she is bringing to Sita Ma. But even then, Sita Ma refuses. She promises her, however, that after Rama's arrival here, she will be taking food, and the first food that she will be taking will be the food prepared by Mandodari herself. Then one day what happens is one night, while Mandodari was sleeping, she has a very terrible, frightening dream. In her dream, she sees the demonic face of her husband, Lanka King Ravana. Then she was very much frightened, and in the middle of the night, she approaches Sitama, who was meditating and sitting in the park under the tree. Then she just doesn't want to actually disturb Sitama. She just comes and sits quietly beside Sitama. Then Sitama realizes and she wakes up from the meditation slowly. And then she sees Mandodari in front of her. Then she asks, Mandodari did not speak any word, but her face was actually filled with sorrow. While earlier one day she had brought food for Sitama. Actually, Sitama says that you need not show much compassion to me. Just try to come out of your sorrow of the grief that is covering you. Try to try to recover yourself from that sorrow. Then Mandodari does not say anything, but she just comes. Okay, she just goes to the kingdom. Then now this time when she has come and she doesn't speak any word actually to Sitama, she just sits quietly. Then Sitama holds her Mandodari's hand. Then Mandodari could not stop the tears and she starts crying and she says that before she could say anything, Sitama, she says that, okay, Ravana has actually abducted you and he has abducted many others also. So how many women he has abducted rather than you? Actually, what had happened is Ravana, not out of consent of Mandodari, he is not married out of consent of Mandodari. He has actually abducted her. Before abducting her, he has asked permission to get married to Mandodari. He is asking her hand to her fathers, and their parents refused to give Mandodari in marriage to Ravana. So he abducts her one night, and he tries to terrify her by all means. And terrified by him, she surrenders herself, and one day she marries Ravana. So this has happened earlier. So Sitama knows this thing, and she's asking Mandodari, how come he has abducted you and you have surrendered yourself and you have married him? Okay, but other women's also, he has spoiled those women's lives also. Then Mandodari, she knows that he is a cruel person, but she could do anything. She just keeps quiet. She just ignores. She showers only loves towards Ravana. She doesn't show any protest to whatever he's doing. So Sitama, she's saying that he is showing a very bad example to other people. Others will start following. They'll think women as just an object of lust. Just throw the women. They don't consider their emotions at all. So this is a wrong example is setting. So then 123 she realizes, but she says that what could I do? I'm just a woman, just single woman. What could I do? Then Shitama, she says that you know that you are the better half of your Ravana, and the main thing you can do is just leave him, and he'll lose half of his strength. So 123 she couldn't believe. She says, okay, how could I do this? I have so much of love, and he is my God. He is, I consider him like my God in my heart. So how could I live him? Then Sita says that, why is that you have not shown any protest also? Then Mandodari says that, I know that he is a very cruel person. He is devastating the whole world and the universe. But even then, I don't know how I am so much attached to him. I could not refuse. I could not protest. I am just accepting whatever he's doing. I'm very dedicated. I'm trying to be an ideal wife to him, and I'm not protesting him. I don't know why. What is the reason? Maybe in past life something has happened. Why? What is the past karma? I don't know. Then Sitama, she touches the forehead of Mandodari and says, "Just see your past, and you will identify." Actually, in the past life of Mandodari, what had happened is she was unmarried, and she was very beautiful. So her parents wanted to find a matching groom for their daughter, but they couldn't succeed in that way. She was overpowering. She was very beautiful. She was very intelligent and that sort of thing. So till the end, they could not find any match for her. So then she becomes very aged, and even then she longs very much to find a husband, but she remains unmarried in that lifetime. So even in her deathbed, she is thinking that how lucky would I be if I could get a match for me, correct exact match for me. Even if this happens in the next birth, next janma also, I will be very ideal wife, and I will not consider my desires at all. I'll just take care of my husband. I'll be an ideal wife. A wife, I'll sacrifice all my likes and wantings for him. Okay, then Sitama says, okay, after that she comes to normal. I mean, Mandodari, she realizes what mistake she has done. Then Sitama, she says that you have done that mistake in the past life. You should have considered that your dignity, our own dignity is more valuable than being sacrificing all our wishes and being very devoted, ideal wife. So that mistake you have done in your previous life. So that is why you are being so attached to this. So okay, then she realizes, okay, this has happened. Okay, now she is asking one more thing, that I know that Ravana is so cruel and he has committed all bad deeds. So will this affect my children also? Will they have to pay for what my husband has done? Sitama says no, it's not so. They'll not have to reap the consequence of what others are doing, but their own actions, whatever they commit, whatever sins they are going to commit, for that only they'll have to pay. Then okay, Mandodari says, okay, then she says, Sitama says, now here the actual captivate is not myself, not I, but you, because you have lost your body as well as your mind to Ravana. So you are the real captive, and you have to free yourself from them. Then she says that love does not come from fright. Okay. It has to come out of real freedom, not from any power. You should not be afraid, and love should come from within. Okay, then once Sitama says that your children also will have to pay for the deed they are doing, then Mandodari says, actually, you are not a ma, you are not a mother, so you will not know my feelings, how I am very much sorrow, I'm stuck in sorrow because of the deeds of my husband, and what is going to happen in future because of the battle, and what my children have to face. So then she says, Sitama says that I'm though I physically am not a mother, but I am attached to everyone. Everyone I see as my child. Even tears are not your tears, it's mine. Your children are not your children alone, they are my children also. So I just try to be detached from them. You don't because their work is different, their deed is different, and you are different. So whatever you are doing, you are very compassionate, you are very lovable, and you are very kind to others. For that, you are separate, and whatever deeds they are going to do, they are separate. So don't get yourself very much attached towards them. And then Mandodari asks one more thing, that I see that you are very powerful as a lady. You are very powerful. You are very, stiff, very hard as rock also at times, and you are also smooth flowing like a river, soft flowing river. How come you have both the qualities? Then she says, Sitama says that actually the bad qualities of anger and hatred, they are they weaken our mind. So if I get into anger or hatred towards Ravana, it means that he is overpowering me. He has attained victory over me. So actually, the world is the universe is sustaining because of the love energy that is flowing everywhere. So that I have to awaken that love from the heart of Ravana. Actually, there can be no person in the world who doesn't have the feeling of love. Actually, Ravana also has love with hidden in his mind, in his inner self. But that is hidden deep inside, and because of all the bad negative qualities that is hidden inside. So I have to try to bring up that quality of Ravana. Then she says, Mandodari, all these years you have also been showering all your love and your dedication, everything towards Ravana, but you could not awaken that inner self, that inner love in him. So this time you have to change your path. You have two choices. Either you have to leave him and you have to stay in your maternal mother's house and you have to stay away with him. But even then, you'll have to face the consequences you are going to reap out of that, because he'll become more and more violent. There are chances of that also. But you take, you take the protection of Parvati Ma in this case, and she'll be able to help you. Okay, she is in a dilemma. Mandodari Rani, she's in a dilemma whether what she's doing, what she's telling, is that possible for her to do? And she's just getting up from the base to leave, because already day is approaching, morning is approaching. So at that time, Sitama gives one more suggestion. She says that you have a one daughter, you just try to bring her to your home. You just keep her by your side, so that she will be of your moral support. She'll give you courage. Mandor 3 wonders how come that Sitama knows that she is having a daughter, because nobody in the kingdom is speaking of her daughter, because her daughter has married and she has gone to live in her in-laws' house. So okay, then she will just goes away. She leaves the place and she goes to the kingdom. She doesn't say that okay, I'll go and bring my daughter, or I will quit Ravana and then I'll go and stay in my maternal mother's house. Or she doesn't say anything. She just goes, okay. She says, okay, thank you for your counseling. For I feel better, and she just leaves the place. And, within a short while, Hanuman, he approaches Sitama. Shitama, at first sight itself, she was able to recognize that this is none other than Lord Shiva himself. He has taken the form of Hanuman for this birth, and for some special purpose. Then Hanuman comes there, and Shitama is full of joy. She wonders, how come you have approached me? Because Lanka has kept me, Ravana has kept me in this place, in this garden, hidden from many other places. He has some magical powers. He has hidden me and kept me in this garden. And how come you have approached me? Then he says that in my body, mind, and soul, everywhere, the name of Ravana is reverberating everywhere. And I could see that here also, in this place also, the same name of Lord Rama is vibrating. And I just came through that through that chanting, and I could find the source, and that is you. From you, that sound is vibrating. Then he gives Sri Ram's ring. And so before that, Sitama tries to get blessings of Hanuman by touching his feet. Then Hanuman says, no, I'm just your devotee. I have just come to serve you and Sri Ram. What are you doing? Then Sitama says, no, I know who you are, and I could not accept you as my devotee. I can now just accept you as my son. That's possible. Then he says, Hanuman says, okay, well, then you can consider me as your son. Then Hanuman, he gives a ring of Lord Rama, Lord Sri Rama, to Sitama. as soon as she touches it and she puts it in her finger, then the golden cord, which got disconnected because of this abduction, and as soon as she comes to Lanka, that golden cord has been disconnected. So that golden cord has between Sri Rama and Sita Ma gets connected once again, and she is able to again hear the heartbeat of Sri Rama, and that gets connected. And she in return she says that as a token of my love, just give a hairpin. She was putting a hairpin that she's got from her mother, her ma, and she it's like hair ornament, and she hands that over to Hanuman. He says, just give it to Sri Ram as a token of my love. Then she also says that you just go and tell my situation to narrate my situation to Sri Rama. And Hanuman just then sees that she has become very weak. She has not been eating or drinking anything, and he feels very sympathetic towards her. And he says, Mata, why don't you eat something? I'll go and get you some fruits from this garden. This has plenty of fruits. And she says, no problem at all. I can stay as I was staying all these days. I can stay as that itself. Till Sri Ram comes, I'll stay in this state. Then, okay, she asked, how many months have passed or how much time has passed since I have been captivated here, because she doesn't care about the days, nights, and all. She just does meditating, severely meditating. Most of the time she's meditating. She doesn't count how many days have passed, how many months have passed. So Hanuman says, Mata, actually over 9 months have passed, and Sri Rama is also trying to, he has already gathered the army, and soon he'll be coming here to Lanka to rescue him. Then Sita Ma says, okay. He says, yeah, I told you earlier that he says that, shall I go and bring some food for you, some fruits for you? She says, no, son. You have plenty of food, whatever you feel like, you just eat. And once you have eaten, it's like I have, my hunger is quenched. So you don't worry about it, just go and have fruits. And before leaving, she says to Hanuman, just you go and I have tried to reach the mind of Ravana. I have tried to awaken his inner self, to bring the love back in him, to the true self in him. But I was not able to go near him, however I tried. So you just from your part, you just try that, because if the war occurs, it will cause a massive destruction in both the sides, from our side as well as their side. So just go and try your part in just trying to awaken him, his true self. Then okay, he says, Hanuman says, okay, ma, I'll try. But if that his cruel greed, lust for women, and greed for power, all these negative emotions, suppose it is blocking me from entering into him, into his heart, then I would just let fire to this place. This will be a token of compassion towards all the people who are abducted here, who are under his abduction. So then he leaves the place. Then he goes and he has plenty of foods, and wantedly he gets caught by the guards of Lanka. Then they take him to Ravana, and there Ravana is very much angry with this by meeting Hanuman. He tries to bring the inner self, awaken his inner self, tries to advise to Ravana that whatever you're doing is very wrong, and just apologize for that, and everything will be okay. We can prevent the war that's going to come. Ravana gets very curious, very angry with Hanuman, and he sees that actually Hanuman is wearing a waist cloth till the knees. It's covering there from his waist to knees. It's like a dhoti he's wearing. So Ravana says, lit that dress with fire, this monkey's dress with fire. So and he tries to do, his guards try to do that, but Agni Deva doesn't appear there, and his dress could not be lit with, could not be burnt with fire. So then Indrajit, the eldest son of Ravana, he intervenes, and he says that he also tries to use abusive language. He says, this is a man monkey. He tries to tease Hanuman in all the means, and he tries himself. He tries to burn the dress of Hanuman. Then Hanuman, in that case also, Agni Deva, he doesn't lit that. He doesn't allow that to happen. Then Hanuman, he himself, he gives permission to Agni Deva, and he says that this is for the purification of Lanka. Let this act happen. And then he just directs Agnideva to the building, to all the buildings of Lanka, and all the building, it catches fire so severely, and everyone is so much busy in extinguishing the fire that is got hold in that kingdom. And Hanuman, he escapes from there. Then Sita Ma, she comes to know of what has happened there in the kingdom, in the court. Then she feels very sorry for Indrajit, because he is also, like his father, he has also got so bad qualities, done mischievous work, and he'll have to pay for it. Then next day, what happens is Sita Ma, as usual, she was sitting in meditation. And in meditation, she was able to visualize that her father and mother are in a very tormented state. They are being killed, and our father is very much in pain. He's shouting Sita, Sita. He's telling the name of Sita Ma. She's very much depressed. She's very much afraid, and very much lowered in her this visual whatever visualization she is seeing there in the meditation. She's very much disturbed by that. She couldn't believe whether it is real or not. Again, she wakes up very afraid, very frightened from that. Again, she goes to meditation again and again, the same visuals she's able to see. Then the Ravana, in the end of the day, in the evening, he comes and he approaches and he says that, I am sorry, Sita, to inform you that in Mithila an attack happened and your father and mother died. They were killed by my men. So Sita, she is okay. She thinks that okay, maybe this is true, because same thing I saw in meditation, but she couldn't, but she did not react. She just withholds all her emotions. She did not react. She just kept quiet. She withholds her emotions. She pretends as if she is gone again to meditation. She just closes her eyes and does not expose the emotions. Then she's very much disturbed. Okay, then after that, Ravana leaves, and in the night time, she is very much disturbed by this message. Whatever has happened in that day, she lets that emotion to flow in the night. Then what happens is she saw that a ball of light is emerging from the sky, and that took the form of sage Anusuya. Anusuya, she comes and she says that you don't get disturbed. This is actually a illusion created by Ravana, as he has done already. This is also his illusion. Just don't give away. Then she says that you go and see for yourself. Okay, go to meditation, see, stage, and you just see for yourself that this is the mischievous, this is illusionary work of Ravana. Then Sita Ma, she goes to meditation and she sees the reality that her father is doing a meditation in a hermitage and her mother is safe in the kingdom. She feels better. Then Anusuya says that she sees that Sita Ma is very weak by fighting, by having all this, by trying to pretending her from all these illusions on all this negative energy and not intaking food and water. She has grown somewhat weak. So Anusuya, she says that, Sage Anusuya, she says that, just hold me, my hand, and try to draw as much as energy you can draw from me, and strength and energy, so that you can boldly will gain more strength to fight against Ram. Okay, let Sri Rama do the outer work. He has to come and physically the battle is going to happen, but you have to tackle him from the inside. Just you have to make Ravana very weak from inside. So that work you have to do. So you have to have more strength. So you try to draw more strength from me. And she says that in this endeavor, in this work, what you are going to do from inner self, you have to learn one more trick what Ravana has been doing. So what you have to do is just enter his dream world and make him weaker day by day, night by night. So I will teach you how to do that. Then both of them meditate together during that night, and she learns all the technique how to go into the dream world, and that the same thing she does. Next night, what happens is while Ravana was sleeping, Sita Ma goes inside his dream in the dream world, and she does not go as Sita Ma. She just takes the form of a celestial woman whom Ravana has betrayed all this thing, and he has used his power over her, overpowered her. So she takes the form of celestial woman, and she says that you have committed all crime against me, and you have to pay for that, and I want it. I want the justice for that. And all other devis, they respond to that, and they try to punish him. And it is a horrible dream for. Oh, time up. Okay. Sorry, ma'am. I'll try to finish it short. Okay, then night by night this happens, and he loses his sleep, and he becomes very curious towards Sita man. He tries to kill her one day after a week, because in a week he daily night he has all these terrible dreams. And one day he comes in front of Sita ma, and he says that. She has bewitched me somehow, and she is very cruel towards me, and I'm going to kill her. In that meanwhile time, Mandodari, she appears in front of Ravana, and she says that, okay, don't stop all these things. You are trying to destroy your own self. I will not let this happen, Mandodari says. And then what happens is, and then somehow he goes away. He doesn't kill Sitama, he doesn't approach her, and he goes away, and Mandodari also leaves the place. Then what happens is, in that night, and actually before that, Sitama, she cautions him. She wants him there. She says that actually I have not bewitched you. That your bad deeds, evil deeds are following you, and that is the cause you are having all these sleepless nights. Go and correct yourself. Nothing is in the world that cannot get apology. Just apologize for yourself, and you will be forgiven. Then at that night, he has a dream. He tries to avoid sleep. He has so much of sleepless night. He tries to avoid the sleep, but that night he dreams that he is standing in front of Narayani, Lord is Narayani, and she is saying the same words as Sitama has told. Okay, just let go all this bad deeds, that anger, jealousy, and all the negative energy, and you will be forgiven. Then he was very much disturbed by this dream, and he goes and seeks the help of his mother, Kaikei Mata. Kaikei, it was Kaike's, sorry, Kaikei. Kaikesi was Ravana's mother. He goes and seeks her advice. Then Kaikesi, he says that she's not an ordinary man, she's an ordinary lady, as the other ladies are. She is very powerful, and yeah, she has a shield around herself, and you cannot get into that shield. So stop fighting her, you just go and marry her. Then he says that she has a protective shield around herself, and I'm not able to approach her, I'm not able to near her. Then Kaikesi, she teaches some magical powers. She gives him some chanting mantras and all, and he enhances her his power. And she says that now he can go and break the outer shield that she is having. That actually, that shield she is getting from all those women in Ayodhya. They are doing prayers in the bank of Sarayu River, as we saw in earlier chapters. So those women are giving their power to Sitama, and that is actually forming a protective shield around Sitama. So she says that you can go and now approach her. Then Ravana next day, he comes and tries to break the shield. While he was taking the sword to do that, physically assault her, and that at that time, sage Lopamudra, she arrives and she takes many forms, and she just pulls Ravana and just throws him away. And he falls by his back, and he goes to unconsciousness. He feels unconscious. Then his gods, he come and he take him out and rescue him. Then that Lopamutra, she comes and presents herself before Sitama, and she's saying that, okay, ma, whatever you have to do, you have done from inside. Okay, you have crushed him, you have broken him into pieces from inside. Now, whatever is to happen is happened to you. Just leave it to Lord Sri Rama. He'll take care. Okay. Then, Mata is able to visualize Parvati Ma and all the holy sages, ladies who are there. They say they say her, they tell her that we are like invisible army. We guarantee that Sri Rama will win this war, and they all disappear. So from this we come to the end of this chapter. I am very sorry that I have taken a very long time. Sorry, masters, and thank you all, masters, for patiently listening to me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Master Vasanthi. Actually, it was very engaging. I'm sure most of the masters, they didn't realize the time was actually running short. Okay, without any further delay, Master Raji, could you please share your wisdom on chapter 16? Thank you very much.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Vasandeji. So the chapter I'm going to discuss today is called The Inner Battle. So when all this happened, just like Vasandeji said, all the women sages were supporting Sita, and they were thwarting all efforts of Ravana to take the control over all the illusions that he was trying to create on Sita's mind. And then in the meantime, Rama is also preparing for the battle. And before the battle, one day, Ravana approaches Sita and he realizes, okay, all the illusions that he wanted to put in her mind failed. He took the help from his mother and tried to break the protective shield around her that failed. And he was not getting sleep because, all these women that he troubled, all those things were coming back to him and gnawing at him. So he was very, very disturbed with all this. And then he came to Sita and he is like, he was telling her, oh, you're doing witchcraft on me and all this. And he was really very perturbed from inside because he's not able to do anything, right? And Sita Mata was very conscious. She was always meditating. And she had this, she has a God on her mind, right? That okay, I should not let any illusions take me over. So she was very, she's on a constant watch on her mind, and she's not allowing any mental illusions to trouble her. And Ravana, he thought, okay, let me do one last illusion that might break her. And what he tried to do is create a illusion that Rama is dead. And he tried to project that image into Sita Mata's mind that Sri Rama is dead and he's lying down dead. Sita Mata has gone through all these illusions already, right? I mean, many illusions. She's gone through them. And in her mind earlier, she saw her parents dead, but she knew it was not the right thing, right? Because she had gone and seen for herself in her astral body that they were fine. So, when she looked at lifeless Rama's form that was projected in her mind, of course, that has an effect because it's her husband and her beloved. But then she realized, okay, this is just another illusion that Ravana is trying to project. And then she just, gathers herself and says, okay, I'm not going to fall for all this. And in spite of all this, she has love and pity for this person who's standing next to her. And she says to Ravana, Ravana, what are you doing? You have done years of tapasa. And then all that power that you have, all that potential you have, it could have been used to do good to others. But what have you done? You haven't really used your power. You haven't used your potential in the right way. And, that should change. Just go back. I mean, think for yourself where you came from, the purest form that you came from. And there's still a chance for you to change yourself. And Ravana says, well, you know what? I'm creating all these words, I'm creating the reality, because even if you think it is an illusion, that is what looks like reality to everybody. And I can create that reality in people's minds. And I can put any thought into anybody. And Sita is like, you think so? You think that you can put your thoughts into other people's minds and you think you're creating the reality, but you're wrong. What you're doing is only an illusion, like a magician, where the magicians do some tricks. We think a body is going to have, but it's not actually, right? She's like, these are all illusions that you're trying to do and pass them as reality, which is not true. You think you're the lord of everything, but then just go back, look into yourself and see who you really are. And then he, with all his thoughts that she was trying to tell him is all going vain, because if he was a good person, he would have listened to her right in the beginning, right? And when she's trying to change him, there's no effect. But somewhere inside there was a small glimmer, when she says, go back to the pure form, go back to where you came from. For a momentarily, there was a pause. There was a kind of throwback in his mind, and that would show him an alternate possibility for him. But then he being Ravana, he immediately came over it and he's like, okay, this lady is doing something to me. And he was full of anger and he's like, I can take your life, at any time. What do you think? And Sita was like, what are you talking about? You can take my life, you know. Um, you can cut this body, do whatever to the body that this is that you're seeing, but is it really the life? You know? And she was asking all these deep questions to him that he didn't have answers to. And then she was trying to tell Ramna, this is what I'm trying to tell you. Life is beyond this body. And there is a pure from where all of us come from. And I want you to realize that. And when she was saying these words, they were kind of reverberating from everywhere because it's the truth, right? She's speaking the truth. And he couldn't take it. He was there speechless. And he was like, he didn't know what to do. And then Sita thought, okay, at least he has come to a stage where I paused him for a moment. And now it's up to Rama to do the rest. And then she went back to her meditation and she was trying to gather all her knowledge on what is happening in Lanka and pass on to Sri Rama now that their connect was re-established. But whenever she was in communication with Rama, Sri Rama and Sita Mata, they were in deep distress because they didn't want this battle. They looked at everybody like their children, right? And they are like, this battle will bring a lot of sorrow for everybody. I mean, by all means, they were trying to avoid that. And then Sita Mata was visualizing and seeing Rama on Lanka, when he's building that bridge and entering Lanka. And he was very sorrowful also because he didn't want the destruction. And all this, I think this is why this chapter was titled Inner Battle, because there was a lot of inner turmoil, both in Sita's mind and also in Sri Rama's mind and heart. They both were very pained inside because they didn't want any of this. But then when they entered, Rama also tried to send Sugriva or somebody, to talk to avoid the battle, but the peaceful talks didn't go through as well, and they had no other choice but to start the battle. And it was very, very painful for both of them. When the battle happens every day, many people die on both sides, and it was really becoming very unbearable for them. And one day, while the battle was going on, there's this Devon guard called Trijata. She was nice to Sita. She was conveying some message to her and all that. And so one day she came running and said, you know what, Sita Ma, Lakshmana was killed in the battle. And Sita Mata could not believe it. She's like, no, it's not possible. But she also knew that Trijata is not the person who would lie to her. And this is not like illusion that Ravana projects, and because she began to believe this lady, and she's like, no, but this cannot be true either. And then she was asking questions to Trijata, and Trijata was like, no, I heard it is true that Lakshmana was hit by a poisonous arrow, and I think there's no antidote to that, and I think it's going to be a great loss to your family. I know he accompanied your husband for a long time and been dear to you all, but I think his time is near. So Sita, in that state, she couldn't believe that. So she went into meditation and she, through her spiritual eyes, she saw what was happening in the battlefield. She saw Lakshmana was in pain. And then she saw that they were trying to get the antidote and the physicians were there, the doctors was advising Hanumanji to go and get the Sanjeevani plant that could help Lakshmana, but there was very little time to go get that. And in the meantime, with her spirit eye, Sita Mata saw that okay, there are some actions that that need to be paid for, and Lakshmana did disfigure Surpanaka, and he had to pay for that, and this is how it is affecting him. And then at that time, she also realized Lord Yama was there to take away Lakshmana's life spirit. And then she was praying to the Lord Yama not to touch him, and she was there protecting Lakshmana. And then the Lord Yama was telling her, when the time approaches, none of us can do anything. I must take him. But Sita Mata was not letting him to take the spirit of Lakshmana, and she's like, no, I cannot let you do this. He's like my son. He's been there all through for me. I will not let you do it. And then finally, she said to Yama, Yama, why don't we do this? I know you cannot go back like this. Take a few years from my life and give that to Lakshmana. You know, as a willingly as a mother, she says, please extend my son's life. For that, you take a few years of my own life. And Yama agrees to do that. And in the meantime, she realizes that Hanumanji is also going to bring the Sanjeevani, and she knows it's all set. And she is out of the vision, and she finds herself back in the Ashokvana. And later on, she tells this story to Hanumanji because in her mind she didn't know. I mean, she saw all this in the vision through the spirit eye, but she was not sure whether really she spoke to Yama or did it really happen or not. She was not sure. But when she told this to Hanumanji apparently told her that, you know what, I think it is true, because when Lakshmana was revived after giving the Sanjeevani, the first question he asked is, where is Sita Mata? Unless he had seen you in the spirit form, he wouldn't ask that question. So I think it is true. And that is how it happened. And when the battle was going on, Rama and Lakshmana, they fought the battle, and then most of Ravana's army was gone. Even his son was dead, and slowly the battle was coming to an end. And all this devastation is taking toll on both Sri Rama and Sita Mata. Sita Mata, as we know, she had been doing meditations continuously. She's not been eating anything, and she didn't want to touch anything in Lanka while she was in Lanka. She was really depleting all her energy. And she's really, focusing on, okay, let this end soon and let everybody be peaceful. These are the kind of thoughts that she was having, and she was continuously meditating and all that. And during the end, when, it was time to kill Ravana, that day, Sita Mata was in meditation, and she says that she felt a burst of love coming. And where is this coming from? The tremendous burst of love. It is originated from Sri Rama. Because, when he released that arrow to kill Ravana, the intention in Sri Rama's mind is not to kill Ravana, but to convert all negativity into love. With that intention, he released the arrow. So when that arrow was released to kill Ravana, there was this huge amount of love that burst out and covered the entire place. And Sita Mata could feel that. And when she finally got out of the meditation, she could feel that every single speck of all things around her were reverberating with that love that Rama had sent out. And finally, before Ravana died, he was so humbled. I mean, at that point, even this love hit him. And he realized what he had done in his life. And he asked, okay, Rama, can I go back to my source, to the purest form? And Rama said, you know what? When I sent this arrow to you with a lot of love, it did clear a lot of your karma, but not completely, so that it will be some more time before you could go back to your purest form. But that'll happen. And then that was the end of Ravana. So knowing with this knowledge, he was prepared. He was prepared to change himself, maybe in one last birth that he was going to take, but he knew that soon he was going to be with the purest of the form, right? And when the battle was over, when everything was done, at that time, all through the year when the Sita Mata was there, she was meditating, she didn't eat any food. So she had been sustaining one amrita that comes from the Sahasrara, right? The trickles down. So that is what was sustaining her. But at the time the battle ended and she came out of meditation to go and meet Rama, at that time the trickle stopped. And because she did not eat anything for such a long time, so she was, when she sat there at that point of time, all the heat that had generated because of her tapasya, it just burst into flames. I mean, energy, we know. So all that energy that was generated because of her meditations would just burst into flames. So that is why when people saw her and Rama saw her at that time, everybody saw her seated in fire. And Lakshmana and all these people were panicking, what's happening, is she going to be burned by these fires? But Rama, he knows everything, so said, no, do not worry, because she has done the meditation with an intention of love to change everything. And she's basically consuming all the impurities of this place and all the effects that had happened because of the war. And she's nullifying all that with the heat of her meditation. So let it burn. And then after some time, the fire, it just withdrew into Sita. At that point of time, in previous chapters, we knew that Sita established a fire in Ayodhya through which Soma and all these people were actually getting to know what's happening, right? That was put off. So at that time, the Soma and all knew that, okay, it means that either everything was good, there was victory, or something happened to Sita. Because sitting there in Ayodhya, they didn't know what happened, but they knew something significant happened because that fire that she started in Ayodhya was put off. So at that time, when the fires withdrew into herself, Rama was there and he was holding her and knew that she was very weak from the lack of food and all that for so many months, and she couldn't get up and she fell unconscious, and Rama nursed her and few days just pouring drops of water in her mouth so that she slowly gains back energy. And when it was time for her to feed her a bit of solid food, she remembered that she said that she'd eat from Mandodari's hand, and she ate from Mandodari's hand. And then she told Mandodari, all the people suffered. Let's cook for them. Let's arrange a feast for them, and let's feed people. So it was her way of expressing her love like a mother. Mothers usually what they do, they feed their children, because feeding the children internally means that taking care of them, right? That is what Sita Mata had in her mind. Feed everybody, and give love while feeding them. And then she went around Lanka. She went to the Ashoka tree where she was there for all these months. The tree itself sheltered her and the constant companion to her all through those, and the witness to everything that she had gone through. And she paid homage to all of that. And then finally, the inner battle is done. Thank you. Thank you, Masters.
Thank you, Master Ajit. It was like you were in the place when it was happening and you just like, remembering back what happened. That kind of, the expression and everything was equally engaging. And now we know the reality behind the Agni Pravesh, right? All this while, in the Purana, it said that Sita need to prove her purity, but instead she was actually cleansing, the impurity in Lanka. Thank you very much, Master Raji. Thanks a lot. And thanks a lot, Master Vasanti as well. So Masters, do you have any questions? Any questions regarding today's chapter 15 and 16? Or you want to share what you felt, after hearing about this version of, our Sita Yanam? Anyone, Masters?
Thank you, Padmaji, for initiating that wonderful sharing both the masters, and it was right on time finished for